Hey everyone, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and I suppose you could sort of consider this a part two. Very recently, in fact in the last review we did, we took a look back in time at the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime, and everybody kind of knows that that Leader Class Optimus Prime interacts with this, the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Jetfire. And I've heard that this guy is a bit of a mess. He's not really, not by my estimation. I love the look of this jet mode, that's gorgeous, but I'll admit that underneath, he's kind of terrifying at first glance. Anyway you cut it, looking at this guy is going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light up my baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. So this is, like I said, kind of part two. Part one was the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime. This is kind of part two. We're going to then skip over what will be part three, the combined mode of Jetwing Optimus Prime, because after this review, we have True Review 1000, which is going to be a Nerdvana story for our buddy Cyril, where we're basically going to take a tour of his entire very interesting collection. And then in Review 2001, we'll do the combined mode of these guys. You follow that? You understand that? Right? So review 998 was Optimus, 999 is this guy, 1000 is going to be the Nerdvana review, and then 1001 will be the combined mode of these guys. Our buddy Maximal 10 loaned this to me. He loans me a lot of things to look at. I really appreciate it, much like our buddy Cyril. And when Maximal 10 loans stuff to me, it's either because he thinks it'd be quirky, it'd be interesting to take a look back on in the modern age, or he thinks it's going to be torturous for me, because he does like to torture me. And I think that was the intention with this guy. Is it torturous? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this lad. And yes, indeed, here we have the Movieverse, Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire, and boy, oh boy, what a gorgeous looking jet mode. I mean, that's fantastic. I love the kind of scarred up Decepticon logos there. It's really, really tremendous. I love how this kind of turned out. Now, to be fair, the instructions for this guy are pretty good. They're certainly better than the Optimus ones. The Optimus ones are just hot garbage. They're just so bad. These ones here, not too bad. Not perfect, but not too bad. And a lot of people give this guy a lot of flack for a lot of stuff coming off and hard to tab in. I don't really find that. These two right here are a little bit of a nuisance to tab in jet mode. In fact, just in fiddling with him, to start the review, they kind of came out. But they do lock in there. I'm not going to hold that against them because I don't really find it's a bad enough issue. Pardon me, I just had to readjust there. So, yeah, we'll kind of see how things go. Also, you'll note that up under the front, I don't have the landing gear down. It's there, but I think I put it in backwards, so I'm like, I'm not taking that out. Because it's his cane, right? The landing gear on the front is his cane. It's down on the back. I also have what I believe to be his cannon in up front. I don't have the little spring-loaded missile for it. This is on loan to me by Maximal 10, and there was a lot of stuff in the box. I assume that the spring-loaded missile is somewhere in there, but there is one that goes in that little blaster that's on the front of his nose. So I'm going to pick that off, and that's just clipped in there with this. And if I'm wrong, and this isn't the right blaster for him, then I apologize, but I think it is. I feel like it is, but I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll see as we go. Again, tremendous look here for the jet. I absolutely adore it. Let's do the transformation. We'll get into his scores after that. I think the best way to do the transformation might be to actually turn the guy around so that I can start at the nose up here. I will note that the nose, the tip up here is soft rubbery plastic. I'll also note that I didn't actually, a little bit of a cheat here for the transformation, I didn't actually push together these two pieces as much as I could, because those two pieces are, of course, his arms. Before we kind of go to his arms, let's open up his hands and take out this. See, I had it up this way. Pretty sure it's supposed to be on this way. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure, and I really don't care that much. We're going to take this aside for now. Okay, with that out, we can come here and we should now, actually, I guess, break that off like that. Get these apart. See, this one does like to come off, but it's not because it's anything bad. It's just the tolerance on the ball peg for it is not the best. Not like this one over here. Oh, that one just came off too. Wow, this one never comes off. Like never. Wild. I guess there's a first for everything. Nevertheless, I'm not going to worry about it. Everybody kind of knows like these are sort of prone to coming off, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to put them back on there for now, and we'll just leave them up like that for now. Then we can come here to the arms and I guess bring them all the way out to the side. Get this out of the way. All the way out to the side. And have that done. We take this piece and we fold it up. And when you fold it up, you actually use this hinge. Watch what I did here. I folded it up like that. Right? Then you angle that hinge down and there is a peg that goes into a peg hole. And holds that in place. Same over here. Take it down and peg into a peg hole. It should be. If I can, there you go. And what about this one? Do I have this one? I think I got that one. So we kind of have those down for now. Wonderful. Then we're going to stand the guy up. We're going to do his legs next. But before we stand the guy up, I'm going to turn him around and we're going to pick off these pieces. And while you can leave the back in here, I find it easier if you take the back off. You can peg it in again after. But in essence, what the back is supposed to do is flip out, and then this handle here will flip down, and then using these two circles here, we would fold up the landing gear and put it underneath, and that would hold those in place, and this becomes Optimus's blaster when we put them together. So I'm actually going to leave this off. You can transform it with the left in here. It's probably going to come off. When you're done, you can slot it back in. But since part one of this kind of series was looking at Optimus in episode 998, and now we're looking at this guy in episode 999, by episode 1001, we're going to see all of this put together. So I'm just going to lay it aside for now. The next time we see this, it'll go in Optimus's hand. So laying that aside, it kind of makes dealing with the legs now a little bit easier for us. So we're going to untab the legs, and there's a little, if I can get this out of the way, there's a little circular tab right here on the leg that goes into a circular port up right here. So we're going to take the legs, and we untab it from there, we untab it from over here too, and we untab it from there. And we pick all of that off and we kind of loosen up the legs. After we loosen up the legs, we should now be able to turn them down, and I'll bring it down, and turn it down, right? That's kind of what we got done with the legs. Then we should be able to bring up the feet and bring up the feet. We should be able to turn the knee and bring the leg forward, turn the knee, bring the leg forward. I like to flip these more to the front and leave them on the back. And then we flip up his heels, I guess. And that's kind of his feet done. We should be able to kind of stand the guy up. I'm going to back this up because we still have a lot of the upper body to do. And here we have Jetfire stood up. Honestly, I'd be pretty crabby too if this is the way that I had to kind of go around looking at my life. We're just going to get these out of the way. And we're going to pick this off because it should be able to just kind of come down. Let's see if I can, yeah. Should be able to get this whole section off. Bring a shoulder down, bring this in, bring this in. Bring a shoulder down. He should be able to come forward And then there we go. This whole thing all opens up. We pick off the back. We have a long hinge in here, another hinge. All of this comes down around the front. You need to really get it all the way down to tab it and solidify it in. It's a nuisance to tab in, and you'll know when you have it done correctly, because once you have it done correctly, I can bring this shoulder down and bring this shoulder down. Once you have it done correctly, he'll make the like transformation sound. It needs to be all the way down though, and really, really solidified in there. I'm gonna get the torso solidified and stand them up, and then we'll do the bits and pieces for the end. Alright, so I've got the backpack and the front kind of tabbed together. I knew it was done because of the transformation sound. Basically, the front section here has two small rounded pegs that go into two peg holes on the black back piece that are way down, very much near the pelvis. So you really got to make sure that the, I don't know if I can actually show this. I don't think I can. Maybe I can. There's a blue hinge that goes all the way up here. You got to make sure that's all the way up. These pieces that are hanging away are used for Optimus when he goes attached. Then we come here and get that down. And we should be able to, I don't like doing this part, but basically we should be able to bring the like wing pieces up and bring this whole piece down. But for some reason this one over here does not want to come undone right now. There. Oh, look. Oh, it did it. Yay! And I like to turn this piece around and bring it up, over like that. Open up the sides of Jetfire's face. It's not exactly Jetfire's face. These pieces here, I fold them up and fold that up. I angle them like that. Personally, I guess it's up to you how you do it. And I make sure that he's like that. Then I take the blaster and that goes in the top of his arm. And then I take his cane section and I bring it in there as his cane. We'll put that down so he can wheel it. And boom, in the end we have Jetfire in his robot mode. And here's our boy next to the Commander class Jetfire, or Skyfire, whatever you prefer. And a modern day leader with Double Dealer. Wow, his name escaped me. The old Jetfire here clocked in at a whopping 598 grams of plastic. Like, whoo, buddy, that is impressive. And here he is next to Optimus Prime. Now, to be fair, the Optimus head here might be up a little bit. Like, by rights, I'm probably supposed to have it pushed back there a little bit more just to be down. But I do find that hinders. I don't know, there's something about it that feels like it hinders the articulation, or that he's looking up to me. So I do leave it up a little bit, even though I'm pretty sure that's slightly mistransformed. Impressive pieces, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, that face is a hard-looking Jetfire face. I don't see it as Jetfire, really. I do think the Studio Series 1 done an infinitely better job on the face sculpt, but overall, it's kinda Jetfire. Like, you know, I can see the wing pieces up here and these pieces back here, and he's holding his staff thing, and of course he does have the pieces coming off the side of his head and whatnot. So like, I would definitely guess that it's Jetfire, but I would give it somewhere around an 8. Because I really think that they could have done better, at least with the head sculpt, and I feel like some of the coloration might have fit better here, because I think his actual coloration would be a little too monochromatic, or that was their thinking at the time. But undoubtedly, the more recent Studio Series Jetfire looks like he jumped off the screen. This looks a little more stylized. So I'm going to give it an 8. It's not bad. It's definitely his body silhouette and stuff, but I mean, it is what it is. The transformation, I don't know how it looked coming across, but honestly, it's not that bad. The legs are very easy. The arms are very easy. The only challenge, I guess, is trying to push the back, or I should say the front piece, down far enough to tab those 2 round pegs into the back, right? It does take a little bit of force just to line that up, but once it's lined up, it tabs in fine, and it's very solid. I'm going to give the transformation, honestly, a solid 9. And then the articulation for the guy, we have a head that can go left and right, not much up and down, little wiggle. The shoulders can go forward and back. These pieces can move all over the place to get out of the way. So can these pieces up here. They can move all around. Arm can go all the way out. We have an ratcheted elbow to 90 degrees. Wrist rotation, opening hinged fingers. Still no waist. The Optimus doesn't have a waist either. The legs are very weird, but they can go all the way out to the side. They can go forward. They can go back on fairly heavy ratchets. There is a knee, but like, and it goes all the way back, but like, it doesn't go forward very far because he is kind of hunched over. No ankle tilt, but we do have the heel that can go forward and the toe that can go forward and back. So he actually ends up being, oh, he's not doing it there now. For his size and everything, he actually does end up being fairly stable. Not the most articulated in the world. I'm going to give the articulation about a 7.5. Let's say an 8, because you can do a couple of cool things with them. But that's me being generous, right? Honestly, my heart wants to say 8 because I like them, but I'll objectively about 7.5. So we have a 9.5, 7.5, 8.5 overall between look and articulation. I said the transformation was pretty good. I'm going to give the transformation about a 9, so 8.5 and 9. I'd say overall he's about an 8.75. He's not bad, but to be fair, he is somewhat stylized, and you got to kind of understand that that's going to be the case with him, right? Naturally, he is not as good as a modern day Studio Series version, but for the time indeed, he was tremendous. I thought that he turned out really well, and for handling him for the first time, I would absolutely call him a success. And here we are once again, and here he is, again, in his plane mode, and really it's easiest, I find, to get to his combined mode, we'll say, from the plane, right? And that's the way the instructions show it. I found his instructions infinitely better than Optimus's, though not perfect. Enough I was able to follow it. Took a little bit of time, but I was able to follow it. I don't think that this is that hard. Panelly? Yes. I think this back section that likes to come off is probably the biggest nuisance. A lot of people complain about these. I didn't find these to be the biggest nuisance, though this one over here, when I kind of undo it, it tends to come off with this one over here rather than staying on its little like ball peg thing. Easy enough to put back in there, but they lock in fine, then this locks up over. I think that this is better and easier than the Optimus. Going to robot mode, it's great, it's fine, it's not a problem. It's kind of brilliant. The only difficulty I've really found with doing that is how like the lower part of the body has to come up over or behind the upper part of the body and lock in. I find I did have to kind of really push that a bit. And again, the lights and sound, you didn't need it. It's just a nuisance going back and forth and going off when you don't want it to. Also, when you put this last piece on, you got to make sure it's all tabbed in correctly and lined up perfectly, because this little button is just a piece of plastic, but it pushes down on the button for the lights and sound that's in there. I'd just as soon rip the button out of it, personally. I think it's a great plane mode. I think it's a fine robot mode, maybe a little bit dated, and I get it. The face, not the most ideal thing. The newer Studio Series iterations of Optimus and Jetfire definitely pull off the look better, undoubtedly. But there's heft here, there's mass here, there's size here, there's like a grandiose feeling to this guy, even all these years later. I've heard a lot of bad things about him, but in my experience, he's not all that bad. Let me know what you think about the original Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, man, each and every single day you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.